living alone, especially being sick, was horrible. Like I just cried so much. Like it was just not a good time.
And you're watching Tyra Talks. Don't forget to subscribe, follow my Instagram. Link in description.
Hello and welcome back to my channel. Okay, so today I'm gonna be talking about my first apartment. Okay, so from actually like finding it, getting it, to moving out and everything. So I am from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I grew up super poor, grew up living in an apartment, didn't even have doors on my childhood bedroom. Okay, so this is sort of poor that I was. All right, so once it was time to go to college, I felt like a princess, honestly, because my school had hotel style living. So you go in, not only is there like a bed here, but we share a shower in our actual room, just me and my roommate, and we have our own vanities. And then come sophomore year, okay, I got an upgrade. I had my own room. Okay, so I didn't have to share a space with nobody, and we just shared a bathroom. But this is an issue because at my school, I mean, for that original room, like the regular classic where you're like in a room with a person, that was like $9,000 for a semester. So if you do the math, that's like $18,000 for a year, which y'all was more than the tuition. Okay, more than the freaking tuition. So that's why by sophomore year it was like, okay, I need to get an apartment. So freshman year, I mean, I've already done a story time about that roommate, and yeah, we were not living together. My sophomore year roommate, have not made a story time about her. I feel like I should. But yeah, she had already had a roommate. When I asked her, like, what are you doing next year, junior year? She was like, oh, I already have a roommate. I was like, oh, okay. So at this point, it was really like up to me to find my own place because obviously my roommate already has her thing situated. And in terms of friends, they either already graduated, they dropped out, they moved in with their boyfriends, or they just already had a roommate. So it was really like, okay, I need to figure out where to live alone, because all the people that I know that I would live with, I can't live with them. And for me, okay, it's called Just Tyra. Okay, it just be me up in the camera. Okay, so me, I got a very particular personality. I don't know, comment down below what y'all think my personality is, but like I have a very particular personality, and it's very you like it or you don't. So I can't just be living with anybody, you know what I mean? Like we gotta have some sort of rapport beforehand. I started Googling ferociously single apartments, alone, low rent apartments, and really trying to keep it near my school. But ultimately I was just finding stuff that was out of my price range. And I say out of my price range because to live like off campus by yourself was like, $800 something, if not more. And I just felt like, the armpit of Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? This ain't even like a ghetto in Philly. Like this is some old bullshit. Okay, you want me to pay $880? Like you with that? Okay, so I wasn't trying to pay it. But after not really getting any luck, like I said, just Googling like apartments, I started to look up realtors. I went onto this realtor site. You were able to type in what you were looking for, like the price range you were looking for, and how many people and all that. And I ended up settling on this place that was literally across the street from campus. And it was just like a 1-bedroom. It had its own bathroom, and you had to share a kitchen with like everybody that lived on the floor. And I was like, okay, for $250, okay, a month, $250, I get my own room, I get a bathroom, and all I gotta do is share the kitchen. Oh yeah, there's no washer and dryer either, so I had to pay for that, but it was only like 75 cents to wash and to dry your clothes. So I felt like it was a good deal. So I called the people. I'm like, I'm a sophomore, I'm trying to like live off year for my junior year. Is there any way that we can meet up so I can like view your property? The girl was like, yeah. I'm like, bet. And it was time to meet up. So the day that I was gonna meet up to look at the property, it was actually like raining, so gloomy, so cold. Actually the worst day ever. And the rental lady was actually late. So I was like cold, wet, and standing outside way longer than necessary. But hey, luckily we were able to get into the building. And once we got to the apartment I was supposed to be viewing, like there was actually somebody in there. So we're like knocking on the door, nobody's answering. And then she like puts in her keys trying to open up the door, and then someone opens the door and it's like them and their cat and they're like bunk beds. And she was like, why are you in my house? I still have more time on the lease. And the person was like, your lease is up in this amount of days, and we sent you so many emails telling you we were coming today. Like it was really uncomfortable. But either way, I was able to go in and check out the space, and I was like, yeah, this seems big enough, because it was like bigger than my dorm room. Like I told you guys, like sophomore year I had my own room, and I just shared like a bathroom and I guess like a common area. So to be able to just like have my own room, you know what I mean, own like common area, like just to myself, like that's really all that I wanted. And luckily, like I said, I saw it, I thought it was okay. She also showed me different sizes of apartments that's like give or take $25, like nothing crazy. But because the price wasn't that different and the square footage wasn't that different, it was like, I'm just gonna stick with the $250. What you mean? That's a good price. So I submitted an application. I think they ran my credit. They knew that I was a student. I had to put down a deposit. And it was like a security deposit, and it was like last month and first month or something like that. And I was able to give them all of those funds, because y'all know the refund checks be crazy. Okay, so I was able to give them all that money, and they were like, okay, cool, you can move in early May. So I'm dumb hype. Lucky for me, I know people, like I said, who already like have their own apartments and stuff. So I was essentially like living with my friend for like 2 weeks, because I didn't have anywhere to stay because my apartment wasn't ready yet. So in the 2 weeks that I'm like waiting for my apartment to be ready, I'm calling like every single day, like, y'all, is my apartment ready? Is my apartment ready? Because I'm staying with my friend who like also has a roommate, and I'm like sleeping on her floor, and like she also has a boyfriend, you know what I mean? So it was just like I'm all up in her space, like I want to get out of here. But turns out there was like something wrong with the floor for the apartment that I wanted to move into, so they moved me into a different apartment. Once my apartment was ready, I quickly moved in, quickly bought an AC. I bought like a blow-up bed, and that's pretty much all I had. Like there was nothing in my room at the time. And then as time went on, my dad ended up coming and like installing some shelves. And again, as time went on, I was able to sort of decorate. And lucky for you guys, I vlog. It's linked down below. You can go check out my vlogs. I was vlogging at this time. Okay, so that is what my apartment looked like. I absolutely loved it. But I gotta tell y'all, I quickly felt very, very alone. Like I quickly realized what it was like to be a single woman. Like, because, you know, when you have a roommate, you can like listen for them. They're making noises, they're shuffling. If you live at school, again, they're making noises, they're shuffling. So you're never really alone. But once I lived by myself, I was really alone, because the apartment building I moved into, there was only like, what, 3 people, 2 people or something like that lived on my floor. So otherwise, there was literally like no noise, like ever, other than like the cars passing, other than being taken away from the military or being, you know, taken away to go and do school. Like there wasn't really anything I was doing. Other than work, of course. I forgot to mention that I was working at a dollar store at the time. I haven't made any, wait, actually I did. I made a story time about this dollar store. Make sure you guys go and check it out. It was about somebody robbing the store. But yeah, so if it wasn't like work, like I wasn't doing anything, because like I said, this was summer. So once school started back up, things weren't so good for me because I was sick. This is after this story time here, and also all these story times, if it's not linked here, they'll be linked below. But this is around the time that I ended up getting really sick. So like I couldn't stand, I couldn't walk. Living alone, especially being sick, was horrible. Like I just cried so much. Like it was just not a good time. But ultimately, you know, 2019, I ended up getting surgery. I got a boyfriend, and things sort of started to look up, but not really, because my boyfriend caused me so many issues, and the surgery didn't work. The back pain was still coming. So eventually I ended up getting my IUD taken out, and also just partying, like going to bars, hanging out with friends, which is very much like, what can I do to not focus on the fact that living in this apartment makes me lonely? Being in this relationship leaves me unfulfilled and insecure. I'm failing in school, like actively failing. Like, and so, you know, going out to party and hanging out with friends is sort of how I like, you know, disassociated and like, you know, I guess live my hot girl fantasy, my material girl fantasy by like just avoiding things. And honestly, once that relationship dissolved, like with that boyfriend, like I feel like that's when things got like super dark, like living alone in my apartment. Because also around this time, like there was random roaches in my apartment too. So I'm like also battling roaches, and it was just like all around a awful, depressed like time. But you know, I had my own apartment and my own job and my own car. Meanwhile, dying inside. Meanwhile, dying inside. So by the summer of 2019, I ended up getting like a new boyfriend, and I ended up spending a lot of time at his house. And also just like being with him was just so easy. It was just like a breath of fresh air. You know what I mean? Like you just didn't have to try too hard. And it was really, really nice. And ultimately I realized like, I don't want to live alone. I want to live with him. Like I want to be around the breath of fresh air, like all the time. And so ultimately come 2020, April, I ended up moving out. I ended up moving out and moving in with my boyfriend, and my first apartment was no more. So that is the story of me getting my own apartment, like how it came about and all that. Make sure you comment down below if you guys have your own apartment. What was it like finding it, getting it? You know, did you experience the same things that I experienced, like feeling lonely and all that stuff? Like, let me know down below. Make sure you would like this video and share this video with someone who you think might enjoy it, because you watched all the way to this point, so you enjoyed it. And I know you got friends, so share this with your friends so they can enjoy it too. Okay, don't be selfish. That's what we're not gonna do. We're not gonna be selfish in 2022. We're gonna share the wealth, okay? And so while we're sharing the wealth, make sure you click on any of these videos on the screen, because they're all great too. So make sure you click on them and give them some love and spread the wealth.